Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 3 and we are going to present about the environmental costs and benefits. My name is Nurshara binti Muhammad Nasir and our group consists of 6 members. In our presentation, we are going to cover the environmental costs such as the definition, the 5 tiers, the categories and elements, the techniques to measure and the benefits of the environmental costs. Not only that, we also will cover the case study of the 90 paper mills. Now let's start with the definition. Firstly, the environmental cost can be defined as the cost that the organization incurred to prevent, to monitor and to report the environmental impacts, and also the cost of failing to comply with the environmental regulation. Environmental benefits can be defined as the benefits that the organization enjoys or gain from the action taken to reduce the impact on the environment. Next is the 5 tiers of environmental costs. For your information, these tiers were developed by the United States Environmental Protection Authority and it is useful to define different types of environmental costs. The first tier is the conventional cost, which can be defined as the direct costs that associate with the capital expenditure, the raw materials and other operating and maintenance costs such as the cost of purchasing equipment to prevent the environmental impact. These costs can be found in most organizations. The second tier is the hidden costs, which can be defined as the unforeseen expenditures that might occur in the future, such as the cost of the maintenance. The third tier is the contingent cost, and this cost usually will be set aside at the beginning of the project because it might be needed to cover any uncertainty or risk. The higher the risk, the higher the contingent cost, and this cost may occur in unexpected future event. The fourth tier is the relationship and image cost. These costs affect a subjective perception of management or stakeholders, such as the cost of annual environmental reports. It is intangible because of the direct benefits that can be gained from the relationship or the image cost itself. The first 4 tiers are the private costs and can directly affect the profit of the organization and can be held legally accountable. And the last tier is the societal cost. This cost is imposed on others such as the society activities and cannot be compensated in the legal system such as the first 4 tiers. An example of this cost is the cost for the natural resources such as the lakes or the rivers. So those are the 5 tiers of the environmental costs. Now we will cover the categories of the environmental costs. There are 4 categories of environmental costs, which are the prevention cost, detection cost, internal failure cost, and the external failure cost. Prevention cost is to prevent the production of waste. Detection cost is incurred to ensure that the organization complies with the regulation and the voluntary standard, while internal control cost is to perform activities that produce waste that has not been discharged into the environment. And the last one is the external failure cost, which is incurred for the activities performed after discharging the waste into the environment. So the detailed explanation regarding these 4 categories of the environmental costs will be explained further by Aisyah in the next slide. Now I pass this presentation to the next presenter.
Thank you, Shahira Nasir. Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurasha binti Razali. I would like to present on the elements of each of the environmental costs. According to presentation from Shahira Nasir just now, there are 4 types of environmental costs, which are environmental prevention costs, environmental detection costs, environmental internal failure costs, and environmental external failure costs. Okay, first, environmental prevention costs, which is the cost that company incurred to solve environmental problems before it occurs, which is prevent the production waste. For example, cost of recycling products, training staff, and carrying out environmental studies. This also can be considered as an investment. It can be a competitive advantage to the company as they make an effort to prevent waste and pollutant. it creates a good image to the company. Okay, second, environmental detection costs, which are the costs that company incurred to monitor the environmental effects that a firm is responsible for. Companies need to follow the rules and regulation by the government in order to save the environment. Example of detection costs are costs arising from the inspection of products and contamination testing. Third, environmental internal failure costs, which are the costs that company incurred when pollutants and waste have been produced but not discharged into the environment. For example, if the company produce waste from manufacturing its products, they should recycle scrap, which is the cost of product that cannot reuse, in order to protect the environment. Other example of environmental internal failure costs are treating toxic waste and maintaining pollution equipment. Lastly, environmental external failure costs, which are the costs incurred by the company after the action of discharge waste into the environment. For example, cost of cleaning up oil spills or cleaning a polluted river. There are also fines and penalties or losing sales for not saving the environment. External failure costs can be subdivided into realized and unrealized costs. Realized costs is when the company need to pay fines or penalties from harming the environment. Unrealized costs is when the other parties need to incur costs on the damage made by the company. Next, I would like to present on the techniques to measure the environmental cost. There are 4 techniques to measure environmental cost. First, input or outflow analysis. Second, flow cost accounting. Third, activity-based costing. And the last one, life cycle costing. Okay, first, for the input or outflow analysis, it is a technique to record material inflow and balance it with the outflows. It means that what comes in must go out. For example, 100 kg of materials have been bought, but only 70 kg of materials have been produced. So, where's the remaining 30 kg of the materials? It may be 10% of it are sold as scrap and the remaining is the waste. By measuring the output this way, it encourages businesses to focus on environmental costs, whether to prevent the waste from the start or to recycle the waste. Next, the flow cost accounting. It is a method that refers to the path or manner in which costs move through a firm. It not only just focuses on the material flows, but also organizational structure. The purpose of this flow cost accounting is to decrease the quantity of the material, which will benefit the environment and at the same time benefits the company total cost in the long run. By using this method, material flows can be seen clearly by understanding the quantity involved, the cost and also the value. Material flows are divided into 3 categories, which are material, system and delivery, and disposal. All these 3 flows will need to be calculated, its cost and value. That's all from me. For the next 2 techniques, the next presenter, Nur Atira, will present it.
Thank you, Aisyah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our beloved daughter and my fellow friends. My name is Nur Atira Mentina Azman, and now I will continue explaining about the other 2 techniques on how to measure the environmental cost. The third technique is activity-based costing, or ABC. ABC is a process of calculating the cost of products that accounts for indirect costs. The goal of ABC is to assign specific resources to objects. It specifically identifies the activities that cause production costs to increase. In an environmental accounting context, it distinguishes between environment-related costs, which can be attributed to joint cost centers, and environment-driven costs, which tend to be hidden on general overheads. Therefore, ABC provides a comprehensive view of every cost associated with the in-house manufacture of a product, so that a company can see precisely which cost will be eliminated if an item is outsourced versus which cost will remain. Fourth technique is life cycle costing. This method concerns with the process of estimating how much money you will spend on an asset over the course of its useful life. Life cycle costing, or also known as whole life costing, covers an asset's cost from the time company purchase it to the time they get rid of it. Within the context of environmental accounting, life cycle costing is a technique which requires the full environmental consequences and therefore costs arising from production of a product to be taken account across its whole life cycle, literally from start to finish. Therefore, this technique helps a company in order to determine the asset's benefits, either they need to buy it or not. Now let's move to benefits of environmental costs. Actually, there are many benefits of environmental costs, but here are the three main benefits. First is improve company sustainability. Reducing the environmental impact will improve the sustainability of the business. If the business is less dependent on natural resources than other competitors and have several ways to deal with rising costs due to climate change, then the business will have a greater chance of long-term success. This is because sometimes limited natural resources in an area or state cause a company to be unable to continue its business. Even worse, if there are similar industries in the area that rely on the same resources, causing the company to have to scramble to acquire those resources. Therefore, it's good for a company to not rely too much on natural resources so that they will sustain their business in future. Second is build competitive advantage among organizations. Competitive advantage is referring to the leverage a business has over its competitors. A business can create competitive advantage by adding value to its product and services or reducing its own cost more effectively than its rival in the industry. For example, a business can produce products using biodegradable materials such as paper disposal. The example of paper disposal are newspaper and parking ticket, which is easier to get. This is due to the reason that biodegradable material does not produce waste because it can be easily eaten by microorganisms. Therefore, it does not produce a lot of garbage because it does not take too long in the landfill. In addition, a business can attract more customers, especially eco-friendly customers. Last but not least is help company to reduce waste and cost. Waste is any substance which is discarded after primary use or is worthless, defective and of no use. For example, the company can save their utility costs by increasing energy efficiency. Plus, they can spend less money to buy materials to produce their product by encouraging on reusing of existing materials in a creative way. In addition, a company may conduct a comprehensive waste assessment of its facility, and this will enable them to understand the best way to reduce waste and save their facility costs. From this assessment, the company will know the type of trash generated and how it is being disposed of, as well as items in the trash that can be reduced, reused or recycled. Hence, by taking into consideration this environmental cost, it helps the company in reducing their waste and cost. So that's all from me. Next, I will pass to Zakira.
Thank you, Atira, for the explanation. Hi, my name is Nur Zakira Mazaidi and I will present on a summary of Naini Paper Mill. Naini Paper Mill was established by Mr. Pramod Agawa in 1995 in Uttarakhand. Being blessed by the huge supply of water and also proper climate conditions make this region being chosen to utilize its raw material for industrial purposes. Naini Paper focus on manufacturing paper for writing and printing, but then advancing in producing the tissue paper and any other kinds of papers demanded in the market. It has been stressed for the company since the plant was unable to fully utilize using its available capacity. Despite a highly competitive market and no chance for increasing the product price had made Mr. Gupta, the head of Naini Paper Mill, needed to find other alternatives that can reduce costs and maximize profit for the company. The reduction of the usage of paper due to environmental protection and revolution of the computer and internet that are able to provide information for the users make the demand for the paper tremendously decline. Next, for the sugar industry, due to high demand of sugar from a variety of industries such as bakeries, soft drinks manufacturing and hotel, the company has a potential to involve in large and growing sugar consumption, demand and conquer the market as a big producer. The price becomes sensitive, which the farmers demand for higher prices since most of the farmers and their families depend truly on the sugar industry. Mr. Gupta has considered collaboration for resource sharing between pepper units and also sugar units for the sake of reducing the cost of production. Most of the major equipment such as boilers, including storage and receiving area, can be shared between two units. Resource sharing such as land from pepper mills can be used for can crushing activity. The different time frames for the two industries make it possible to do the production despite preserving the quality of each product produced. From pepper mills can be used for can crushing activity. The different time frames for the two industries make it possible to do the production despite preserving the quality of each product produced. There is an issue in the sugar mill, which is the problem with the inbound logistic of cane. Due to loads of trucks that carry the materials and a long queue waiting to be inspected, the processing activity will be delayed. In order to avoid the delay, Mr. Gupta has come out with the plan to invite the sugar producer to his premises to resolve the problem effectively. Once harvested, the cane will be used in process of ratuns, but due to inexperienced farmers, planting the fresh plant at a low productivity had led to the risk of getting poor quality of product. Mr. Gupta has came out with the plan to process fresh or dry crops when the ratuns were not available and hiring the harvesting inspector to ensure the quality of the final products. The discussion between higher management whether to shift to different kind of industry or to enter into cardboard production. Even cardboards were highly strong and durable, but the company needed to prepare additional investment and extra machineries that would be costly. Using extra wooden chips to produce cardboard would be dangerous to environment since they were not weather resistant and led to cutting more trees. Now, the management in dilemma whether to focus on resource sharing with a sugar mill or expand production in cardboard in the way that can save the environment. That's all from me. The next part will be presented by Nabila.
Thank you, Zakira. My name is Nur Nabila. Next, I'll present on the issue related to the case. Regarding the case of 90 peppers, there are several environmental related issues arise. The first one is scarcity of resources. The paper industry mostly concerned with the problems of high power costs, low skilled labor, low creativity, high employee turnover, and poor infrastructure. Regardless, the biggest issue here is the scarcity of raw materials. This is because most of the materials used in manufacturing papers are forest-based. With the increase of forest degradation, the industry is likely to face a serious raw material issue. The second one is collaboration and resource utilization. This is the issue of finding the opportunity of sharing the resource in two different production, which is paper and sugar manufacturing. If 90 Pepper grab this opportunity, they can save a lot of costs such as equipment, transportation, and storage. However, these industries are seasonal, where when the sugar industry went into hibernation, the demand for the paper are especially high as educational season began. This can be a problem as the quality of the raw material might be damaged during the process. The third is sustainability. These issues of sustainability is related to the top management's dilemma whether to focus on sharing the resource with sugar mill or to expand the production line within the industry. If 90 Pepper decide to produce cardboard, they might have to face with the problem of durability of the product. This is because cardboards are very delicate and can be easily replaced. That's all from me. Next, I'll pass to Shahira.
Thank you, Nur Nabila. Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nushaira binti Abdul Ghani and I'll be presenting on how the company rectified the issue that they have been facing before. For the first one is they have established a commission of sugarcane. This commission of sugarcane was established by the government to facilitate the negotiation between the farmers and also the mills. Okay, basically, the mills will update the commission about what the requirement that they want about the product, and also after that the commission will contact the farmers according and tell them accordingly. And basically this commission is the person who will be in charge between these two bodies. And then the farmer will be harvested their product and will send it directly to either to the mills or to a convenience place to avoid oversupply of the product. The establishment of this sugarcane commission is very helpful for the company because it will help to maintain a good relationship between the farmers and also the mills. And this commission have been trying their best to involve between the problem facing by these two, by the farmers and also by the mills. By doing this, it will avoid unnecessary incident happen towards the farmers and also the mills. The next one is by educate the farmers. The issue can be minimized by educating the farmers about the losses due to such practice that they have been done before. By educating the farmers, they also can improve the quality of inspection and also the quality of the product that they will be produced. For once planted, a cane could harvested for several times, and after each was harvested, this cane would send out a new stock called returns. For the farmers, after they have been communicated by the commission about the requirement by the mills, it will be up for the farmers which type of cane that they would like to produce. Sometimes to earn more profit or to clear the inventory before the fresh harvesting time, the farmer tend to play some trick with the sugar mill by planting a fresh plant, where this fresh plant were low in productivity as compared to ratoons. All this can lower the overall productivity of the mill. So, by taking this action, it is very important to educate the farmers because it could help the company to improve the quality of the product and also to settle this issue immediately. Last but not least is by recruiting the harvesting inspector. By recruiting this harvesting inspector, it will not only ensure a good quality and true reporting of delivered product, but it will also be helpful in reducing the bottleneck at the token counter. The inspector should be hardworking and also have a basic knowledge of crops and could speak the local language so that it would be easier for them to communicate with the local farmer. Although the cost of recruiting this inspector is quite high, but it will give a huge benefit for the company. This inspector will be sent to the farmers and they will be supervised the entire harvesting process. So by doing this, they could improve the quality of the product that they will be produced. Besides that, this inspector also will be function at the token counter so that the process at the counter would be smooth and will be completed quickly. So this could solve the problem of the long queue problem at the counter. I think that's all from me and my group. If you have any question, feel free to ask us. Thank you. Have a nice day.